YouTube. Okay, so this is about the statute of limitations and certain attributes when it comes to being popular. Okay, like the conventions, for example. You see how lately I read gave the convention how it was a whole bunch of white, Asian, Filipino people that they didn't care lately. What happened to them because I pulled racism because it was just a con at the end of the day. But that's why I remind you, how was the con introduced to me, all right? It was through Stephanie, all right? That was back when I was still a nerd. Now, this video is about all types of shit, right? Literally, how I was playing golf shit, in high school and how you get the tournaments. The Tenkaichi tournaments where they have the cons of the characters like Piccolo versus Aizen. I need to let you know that shit is somebody you made, okay? Literally, just like the purple hair, that shit is somebody you made, alright? So not to get too crazy for this video, but we literally came to Vanessa, moving the rocker to Mandela's. This is, severely out of pocket because what you need to understand, right? Lately, that's just one way, people got to test you. How come, they can't do that up front, right? So let's get into another example, all right? What was, Anthony Perry. So this is the full story behind Anthony Perry, if you didn't know on my channel. What Anthony Perry was, all right? He was my level of being popular where it came to, Washington, okay? Because when Anthony Perry, me and him, we smoked out of a fucking can, right? But there was some residue left over, right? And he was a taller version of Isaiah. So I went to Bring Me to Our Horizon. You know how he had Dad Scavenge Dance, we were talking about shit like rapcore. Literally, a lot of people agree with me, disagree with me. Going to a certain place at New Park Mall where he specifically got kicked out, okay? So what ended up happening, right? Was we ended up having a showdown because his brother was an Norteño, much like my brother, all right? So when it came down to it, he's like, if Isaiah wants to fuck with you, just bring me, right? Literally, and I fuck with that story, but I don't fuck with it over him being black and him adapting to society, all right? It's very true, all right? And that's the accent for rundown. That emo shit is really fucking bad because I recognize what goes hand in hand with emo. Advanced dopamine, advanced, social validation for people who love you, for who you are, all right? That's why, in high school, she called out that what I was doing was, loathing, all right? It was loathing. And another thing that was very unappealing, that I was doing, back in high school was watching porn, all right? And when I was watching excessive, bits of it, excessive bits of porn, what I recognize is that I'm not being civil. But on the other hand, I recognize Mr. Petro was saying what all the librarians and teachers were saying was a civil either, all right? They were calling out the sex way back in the day. And what I was doing is I was adapting the issue as is. You see how watching these A and Bs, how slightly deferring, it's that recognizing that this girl is a guy character over and over again, all right? That's what I was doing. I was playing a situation as if, literally, in a rape environment, literally, Mr. Pleasure tells me to stick with my anime. And look what happened to a full art nerd online, all right? This is what actually goes through his head, okay? And, it's very true. And there was this one time I was going to make an A and B for a Timothy Delgado song, right? But I couldn't do it because he died, all right? So, newsflash this channel, Timothy Delgado may be facing his mom, all right? He already said DEAD. I don't support that, right now. But the truth behind it is, there are multiple shows like that guy Defenders, Mr. Young, that tells you when she goes back to school. When she tells you to go back to school, it's not 100% over, all right? And that's what some of the interior of the show's for, all right? So, that's true, all right? Now, let me, I saw myself on stage a little bit, so saw yourself on stage, you told you to go back to school. I already told you what side I'm on, buddy. Now, when it comes to Wildebeest and Beast Boy and Beast Boy Teen Titans, all right? That is who I was in the old world, all right? Because of the fact that when you get past that one little middle line, right? Literally, it's over, all right? And, that's why a lot of people are disappointed in my child, because women were a challenge, especially when you're 1/5, okay? When you're 1/5, you have to understand that they come up in the middle, like playing sports and shit, and that there are something you have to get over, all right? Once you get over them, they're so immature. That's what we're talking about. That's why I hated that literally, when he's in high school, because he's literally complaining about something above him, literally, but he's more intelligent, literally, and that's why literally 2 and 2 come clicking into play. Because what you don't understand is when you play some games that yellow, oh, I found a county, that outweighs sex, this and that, you are not recognizing that, once you put the candy down, you're a human life form, you're an organism, and you're trying to make one another organism. That's your fucking problem, all right? That's why every time I refer to an old world, lately, you agree or cringe to the point where you forget what you are, all right? It pisses me off, all right? All right? And, That's true. That's very fucking true. Because when I ran the whole company, I knew everything. But I couldn't believe that they chose my social life and called out literally the sex I was having over the versus battles I had in Funimation, which is why Sean Schimel is full of shit. I repeat, literally, that was the worst part of Fire Bob, is I ran into somebody who was full on autism with Goku. But you know what they said? You know what the media literally said? Oh, we're building it up, to the original momentum when Dragon Ball Z was on TV. That's why he's taking a being, literally, making the pussy and doing all that. I'm like, no. I started thinking, try to rape my wife, try to rape my girlfriend, literally, this, and that, and I don't care, all right? This is a very fucking important video, all right? Because those codename K and D AMVs were the internet first started. Do you think we had internet forever? I grew up in 1995. We did not have the internet forever. We may have grandma's internet where you type shit, but we didn't have literally clicking on YouTube videos until literally not even the early 2000s, like 2000, like when YouTube first came out, all right? It's true. That was very true. How long? How did I take advantage of Wikipedia online? I did. I made, 1/5 and adjacent all the way to a point where we looked up Super 17 videos. All right? It's true. It's very fucking true. Just recognize, literally, when I kept on living the full time out to DBZ, that's when things literally mattered, all right? Now, one thing you did know on my channel is that Ileana had to move away from school from Zach, all right? And so when they guarantee this shit drags on, guess what I do? I bring children. I bring Jonah along. Lately, where it drags on, we get no emphasis for the children, all right? So it's very hard, to support, your theory and lifestyle, because literally what you do, how you wrap your mind around gay shit. So you know where I'm standing at, right? So some people that view my channel literally may view it differently, right? What I stand at, literally, is where you gave me games like, Bleach Rebirth, all that shit, during the time. As I reference, the old world where things are working correctly, but guess what you're referencing? You're referencing Castray too, if I actually go to jail, if I get help, this and that, going far and beyond, what you're referencing is completely fucking different. You're referencing literally cringe, things not working in order to get what you want, literally. So you come at me with retarded concepts, literally, and I have full concepts, to come back, but you're allowed to do the same thing, which is a definition of cringe. And I'm like, whatever, all right? Supremely whatever, all right? Now, when it came to, my analyzing of the story, it was very straightforward. Paige got fucked up, but, where it came down on TV, who got the best line where it came to Christmas, all right? It's very, very fucking true, all right? And that's why literally, later on, I'm gonna upload a video about, Chris and how I feel in the current situation, but everything, all right? So, I'm gonna say again, Chris sacrificed himself for the artifact is stupid, all right? So back in the country and Mighty Mo was still begging and shit, literally, he stayed at the beginning of the being. So later on, we go further into the blood being, they introduced the pre-thing, the thing to get the girl, right? And so what Chris did was he stopped, a couple of meetings, and they said, Mom, he's like, country, literally, you want to get kicked out of the country, literally, for sexually raping a girl? Well, this thing, he's like, no, he said Mom every single time, which is poison, all right? Because the main goal is Mom isn't going to be there forever, all right? Contradictory to this situation, your mom's paying your bills, your mom's doing everything, but in general, literally what they did was they're like, man, I put two together, I want to put my dick in the vagina, literally before I turned 17, all right? So what he did was he backed up and he recognized society. This is why he could always rely on common sense, in a condensed situation, all right? And that's why literally I called out, literally, you see, by the time it came, to call out shows like Grossology, this is that Kolioko, literally, what I was talking about, they took him off the air. I know all that shit, right? It's true. It's very fucking true because, the actual realization of the situation is when Chris did that, it forced me literally to put myself in general situations that were destructive because I was progressing and everything, right? Like I said, I was competing with people like Anthony Perry, I was competing with Caleb a lot and Sandre, a lot. But the problem with that is that's overwhelmingly dopamine. That's somebody being all up over you to a point where it's not healthy, to a point where common sense can't leak through. And guess what happens when Chris plays that's when he's social. The exact opposite happens. Something is, slowly, literally push him line like Kuroko basket, all right? And that's true, and that's way healthier. That means the way you're receiving dopamine is healthier. That means it's not this, and that. It's a little bit of information, not everything at once, like when you're too eager to get a girl, right? Literally, that's true. That's true. That's way healthier habits. We have basketball animes and things that keep you alive. That's way better than you having a push and pull relationship with a fourth grade ninja war, all right? So I'm thinking about it literally every single day. That one moment, literally, when Grandma said pizza was here and I was watching, Pain, all connected to the laws of the universe, everything connected to Dragon Ball Z. I'm thinking about all that shit. I wouldn't have had such success if I didn't work so hard at rap, all right? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I tell you. It's already is that shit. You know, fucking they allow you being a rapper. They think it's standard. You know, girls were always that way. All right. Now, when it came to it, that's what made Chris, align lately with the common sense thing where more things are coming in hand. So what happened with me in the group home was, people were allowed to buy pre-thing, but then were allowed Chris for resources. It's fucked up. It's fucked up that he said at the beginning of the fucking meeting, literally, and fucking, that's why he's always fucking there, to tag shit along. And people don't understand what that does for America. Well, if you stop making it a joke and give me my money already, like Dr. Dre, Chris gonna be able to say shit, alright? I'm feeling crushed every single fucking day, alright? It's stupid, but I feel triumphant because I'm like, how things actually work out. Now let's get to Uncle Tommy. Now Uncle Tommy, lately, I thought he was gonna be a breeze and a pushover because contrary to what you say, him being in the military, he was the biggest fuck up in the military. His biggest lie was, I'm a shitbird. Literally, when he didn't want to do push-ups and sit-ups correctly, literally a sergeant was like, Tommy, I want you to run around literally 10 times and say I'm a shitbird. Literally. And so what happened was Sonny, the one I used the most, was the one who helped him out the most in the military, saying, Tommy, stop fucking up, stop getting in the fights with people, stop doing this and that. So I thought it was going to be an easy breeze, right? Because he showed me the immaturity, outside of his bop and weave. And, especially because I was more like David, but what really happened was I figured out that he learned how to cheat the continuity by making, kids like TJ, Lily, even though that's his shit. That's what Elsie, counted him for TJ. What he really did was he trapped the autistic kid at JC while making sure that he was a beastie boy, making sure that his moves were spontaneous and proportionate. Literally, he trapped the autistic kid literally in Big versus Wall where it got to it, where in reality he's in debt. But guess what happened? Literally, something starts, something finishes. He went to jail for rape, but your abusive girlfriend literally abuses the fact that you haven't went all the way there yet, alright? So in the hood, I felt clowned upon. I felt like I didn't get one single hit outside that crackhead. I really feel that way. But I knew how to do things through to a point where I was, at the government, with Dorothy and shit, alright? So let's just say, it's my favorite show in the world. But anyway, that's true. So that's the summary for this YouTube video.